Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a document that doesn't just criticize Malaysian politics, it declares a full-blown crisis of mentality. And, it actually offers a pretty radical blueprint for a complete overhaul. So let's get right into it. Right out of the gate, the source document makes this incredibly provocative claim. Pulls no punches. This really sets the stage for its core argument, that a specific pattern of leadership has systematically failed its own community, and it's being used as a case study for a much wider political problem.
So how exactly does the document build this case? Well, it starts by zooming out, arguing that these issues aren't just isolated incidents. No, they're symptoms of a deeply flawed leadership mentality that's pretty much poisoning the entire political landscape.
Okay, this slide is absolutely crucial because it lays out the 5 core problems that, according to the source, really define this crisis of mentality. We're talking about everything from weaponizing race and religion to treating politics like a get-rich-quick scheme. The argument here is that this kind of thinking creates a system where the elites thrive and just about everyone else gets left behind. And when that happens, national wealth gets drained, debt grows, and it's ordinary people who end up paying the price.
Now this is where the analysis gets even more specific. It really drills down into how this political mentality has led to dramatically different outcomes from Malaysia's different communities.
And this table, wow, it really just lays out the source's central argument in black and white. It contrasts what it sees as the high unity and strong institutions in the Chinese community with the outcomes it links to Indian leadership, which it describes as fragmented by things like caste and language, leading to weak institutions and a pretty divided community. And look, this vulnerability didn't just pop up out of thin air. The analysis traces it all the way back to historical structural injustice. It talks about how generations of estate workers who literally built the nation's plantation economy were just left with nothing, no land, no housing, no transition plan when those estates were sold off for development. And that, it argues, created a long-term cycle of dependency.
This brings us to the real heart of the matter. The failure is presented as institutional. While one community's assets were protected in trusts and associations, another's were apparently tied to individuals, which allegedly led to misuse and neglect. This lack of institutional safeguards, the text suggests, is the absolute core of the problem.
So after that pretty scathing diagnosis, what's the solution? Well, the document proposes a complete and total overhaul of what it even means to be a political leader in Malaysia. It's a truly radical transformation. And at the center of this transformation is this really bold idea, a formal leadership faculty. Now, this isn't just some weekend workshop. We're talking about an institution designed to train a whole new generation of leaders. The idea is to ground them in ethics, arm them with modern tools, and basically re-engineer the system from the inside out. This whole leadership program is built on 3 really powerful pillars. First, you've got civilizational anchors. This is about grounding leadership in timeless ethics of justice and service, drawing from texts like the Thirukkural instead of just short-term political gain. Second, global benchmarking, basically learning from what works in other parts of the world. And third, digital infrastructure, using tech to bring radical transparency and accountability. It's this fascinating mix of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge innovation. The goal here is what the document calls a 360-degree leader. And this isn't about memorizing political theory. No, this is about creating practical, holistic leaders who understand everything from infrastructure planning to community health, the real-world needs of the people they're supposed to be serving. And listen, this isn't just some vague dream. They've laid out a crystal-clear 6-phase plan. It starts with the foundation, setting up the faculty itself. Then comes the intensive leadership training. After that, the digital tools get rolled out for transparency. That leads to pilot projects on the ground, empowering communities directly. And finally, there's a rigorous monitoring phase to make sure it's all working before the entire model gets scaled nationwide. And when they say 360-degree training, they mean it. It gets super practical. For instance, leaders would actually get trained in the fundamentals of architecture and design. And the goal? To make sure they can actually oversee the construction of functional community buildings, not just show up for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. And it doesn't stop at buildings either. This systemic approach goes all the way down to food. The idea is to train leaders who can build resilient local economies and improve community health from the ground up, making sure something as basic as a school lunch program is actually effective and sustainable. And this is crucial. The model also focuses on rebuilding what the document calls emotional ecosystems. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's about training leaders to consciously foster trust, unity, and morale, to actively repair the social fabric that's been torn apart by the politics of division. So, ultimately, this whole blueprint is about a fundamental shift in the very purpose of political leadership. It's about moving away from superficial photo ops to what the document calls systemic service, creating deep, measurable, and lasting change for the community.
This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? It's a direct challenge to the status quo and a powerful call to action for a totally new kind of governance, one that's focused on results, not just appearances.
So the final call to action is for everyone. It urges leaders to commit to genuine service, communities to unite and demand accountability, and institutions to adopt real safeguards like trusts. The whole vision is to build a new foundation of empowerment right from the ground up.
So there you have it, an ambitious, detailed, and a very provocative blueprint for change. It diagnoses a really deep-seated problem and offers an equally deep solution. But it leaves us with this critical question. Is it actually possible to re-engineer political leadership on this kind of scale? Or are established systems just too powerful to ever really reform?